Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special, and I mean a very special, episode of one of my reviews. Today we're going to be talking about episode 1 of Miss Marvel with my special introduction. Let's get started. How do you do, G-Pod crew? It's your nutty buddy Pod here, and today, oh my god, today is a double/triple header. We have Miss Marvel coming out today, this morning, as well as the newest episode, episode 4 of Obi-Wan. And then, of course, we have the Fortnite X Marvel comic as well. There's a lot happening today. That's going to be huge. But today you're here for Miss Marvel. Now, I'm calling this the Marvel Day, or I should say Disney Plus Day, because Star Wars isn't really Marvel. It's crazy either way. There's Star Wars comics in Marvel, so it doesn't matter. It's a Marvel Day. But my point to the whole thing is this. The reason this is a very special introduction is because of the intricacies of, well, this version of Miss Marvel. Let me explain. See, as a comic book fan, I've been reading for years now, but you know, as you get older, you tend to not maybe read certain comic books not because you don't have any interest in them, but, you know, time, life, things of that nature. I try to keep up as much as I can with the most current tradition of comic books, but if they're not introduced to me in a proper way, like, for example, reading a Spider-Man comic and then introducing the character to me, then I might not know about it. If I were to be a Captain Marvel fan now, unlike when I was back in the day, then I might have known more about Kamala Khan. Kamala Khan is the newest iteration of Miss Marvel. And you might be saying, what the heck are you talking about? This is the Miss Marvel I know. Understand, Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan's version, premiered in the comic books in August of 2013. She's a hardcore fan of the Avengers and the Marvel world, even though it's not called the Marvel world in her world. It's just the Avengers. She's a fan of the Avengers. The first time I was actually introduced to her was through the Avengers video game. That's how I learned about who Kamala Khan is and her being a fan. And what makes it really interesting is she is a fan like I am, like really would love to be an Avenger herself, or ends up being, I should say, and I would love to be the same way, but mine would be Putty Man, which has flexibility much like Miss Marvel's. Let me explain. See, the original comic book is actually based on Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers' Miss Marvel, called Captain Marvel, but turned into Miss Marvel because she ended up stopping the Captain Marvel facade because of leaving her sister, leaving through the Nexus and everything. And so the reason I'm stating this is because that's the Miss Marvel I'm used to. That's the Miss Marvel I know. But then Kamala Khan came in and she took over the mantle of Miss Marvel. And I think Carol Danvers went back to Captain Marvel. I'm not exactly sure. But this is the Miss Marvel that I know. And you see her on the screen now. She has the bolt on her chest, just like the Miss Marvel that you might know. But what makes it really funny with the Kamala Khan situation is this. She, in the comic books, has the powers of, like, flexibility, just like Mr. Fantastic, and able to stretch her body here and there. This is exactly what my Putty Man character that I made was back in 1994. Yes, I made Putty Man myself in 1994. This was when I was 14 years old, and my whole idea was that when you make the when I made the Putty Man character, I thought of Wolverine also as well. Like, I thought of him being made out of Silly Putty, because I used to play with Silly Putty all the time, and I'd put it on my comic books and would peel off the coloration and put it on the Silly Putty. And I figured this would be a cool comic book character, but then I gave him a liquid metal skeleton because of Wolverine getting his adamantium by way of it being liquid metal that was solidified. And I always said to myself, hey, maybe instead of it solidifying, you could control that solidification. And as a kid, I made him have a liquid metal skeleton in his body that can harden and melt down, just like he can harden and melt down his putty body. And stretch it out, do the things that you see Miss Marvel can do. Basically, It feels like it has a parallel. But you may be wondering, why am I bringing this up? You're talking about Kamala Khan, you're talking about Miss Marvel, you're talking about your own character. Why did you put Putty's introduction, and why is this so special? For one reason. I have not read a Kamala Khan version of Miss Marvel.
What? What the f?
I know, shocker. Putty hasn't read a Marvel comic? I love Marvel comics, but because of my intricate knowledge when it comes to connecting universe, things of that nature, it's easy for me to backtrack and find out information. This is going to be the first time that I will be on the same trip as you, learning. And I will make sure to learn by giving you the information that I find online as quick as I can. Now, this might be the most jankiest review or jankiest full breakdown I ever do, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to have so much more fun finding out new things, and I feel like it's going to be more entertaining in that way. Or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. This is the first time, and that's why I haven't even watched the episode. This is the introduction. Usually I do this for all my episodes, but this one's extra special because I don't have the title of the episode, and I don't even know what's going to happen going into it. The only thing I have based on information is the Avengers video game. That's it. I know Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, a.k.a. Carol Danvers Miss Marvel, but she's not involved in this. She's a fan of Carol Danvers Miss Marvel in the show and the Avengers video game. And of course in the comic books. And she is going to be in a movie with the Carol Danvers Captain Marvel called The Marvels. So there's a whole connection here that I am going to be new as well. I know the Carol Danvers side, that's not a problem. The Kamala Khan is new, and I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine not knowing one bit of information, and I know a lot of my regular OGs are going to be shocked by this, but that's okay. This is the first time I get to learn about a character with you when you learn from me. With that being said, guys, I can't wait to see what this is going to bring me. So this is not going to be a spoiler for you. This is the introduction, and then it's going to go into my full breakdown and then my final thoughts. I don't really have any thoughts as far as review because I have nothing to compare it to. So my final thoughts are going to be based on my actual final thoughts of the show itself. Not the comparison, nothing. Even though I will be looking at information and I will the comparison, I do not have that backstory or that, how do I say, that time to absorb the character outside of the show, much like I do with Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers Captain Marvel, or of course Obi-Wan Kenobi, or anything else that I review that I have a past with. This is new. This is exciting. And I can't wait to see how everything turns out. This could turn out really bad or really good. And either way, I am excited to go on this journey with you, just like you do, seeing it with fresh eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my full breakdown of episode 1 of Miss Marvel. Let's get started. Now, you hear Miss Marvel talk about AVENGERCON. It's basically like Comic-Con for Avengers. Now, the first time I actually heard about this is from the Avengers video game, the one made by Squaresoft. And lo and behold, doing some research, I found out that Kevin Feige has stated, and this is what he said, Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige has expressed interest in a real-life AvengersCon, revealing that the crew behind the Spider-Man No Way Home kept sneaking over to the AvengersCon set during the production of Miss Marvel. So apparently, and we might even see it in this episode, the Spider-Man No Way Home, they were sneaking on the set of Miss Marvel to be part of AvengersCon or AvengerCon, and during the filming of Spider-Man No Way Home. So if I see Tom Holland in the background or anything like that, I will definitely put this in this full breakdown. So anyway, let's continue. Okay, so this is the second time Star Wars has been referenced in the MCU. So if you remember in Captain America Civil War, when Spider-Man was first introduced, he talked about Empire Strikes Back and talks about the AT-ATs being taken down by the air speeders, which, by the way, go see my Obi-Wan review. I actually talk about air speeders and that particular scene that Tom Holland's Peter Parker is speaking about. But now we have this young man, again, I'm still learning these characters, saying, "So can we stop acting like your mom is Darth Vader?" So my question to the world is Star Wars considered a movie in the MCU? Because here's my thing. The reason I state this is because we just saw that she's talking to the counselor and they refer to Mulan. And she said, "Did you just quote Mulan?" You have to understand why I'm asking this, because if that's true, that means Disney exists in this world. Disney, Star Wars, does Disney own Star Wars in this world, or is it still owned by Fox under George Lucas? And is Fox a separate entity now in this world from the Marvel's Disney world? I know I'm making things complicated, but my point to the whole thing is, does that mean that Marvel itself doesn't exist, but the Avengers and any of those super beings do exist? Probably broke your brain, but I figured it's a fun time to break your brain. I think these kids need to do my reviews from now on. There was just too much in this one scene alone that I was like, okay, let me explain to you exactly what happened and why it took me so long in between this. I was stopping and going, let me go ahead and talk about that. That's in the comics, and let me go ahead and talk about that. That's in the comics. And as they're showing these animation in the background, zombie Captain Marvel, Captain Strange version, like there's so many different references that do apply to the comic books that it makes me think that Kamala Khan and this kid are basically fanboys like me. They are. They just really are. And it was way too much to reference and try to pull off. So I just called this part Too Much Marvel. There's never too much Marvel, honestly. What am I talking about? There's never too much Marvel, but there's too much Marvel for me to reference. But let's just say it all exists and it's all there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my god, I knew that she looked familiar. This actress right here, I was like, she looks very familiar. And then I put my finger onto it. Okay, I'm gonna butcher her name. This actress' name is Anjali Bhimani. Listen, I know I butchered her name like crazy, but she actually plays a character, voice actress, as a character on Overwatch. SYMMETRA. I know I'm messing it up, but she's the one that always uses um the portal devices, as well as uses the cannons, or not the cannons, but the little droids that go against the wall that shoot. I'm having problems saying words, ladies and gentlemen. But I knew I've seen her before, and yes, that she's the voice actress of her on Overwatch, and is now playing her in relation to Kamala Khan. That's cool. Now you'll notice when they walk into AvengersCon here that you hear music playing in the background. That is actually the Star Spangled song that you hear in the first Captain America movie, Captain America: The First Avenger, when he's more not even a hero. He's basically being played off as a way to sell bonds in the war. So that's the music you're hearing in the background, and is a deep cut, I think, for those that are big MCU fans. And then finally, we have the end scene, which has the Department of Damage Control. And the reason I know this is because of the person here. This is Albert Cleary. Cleary is part of Damage Control. So they're definitely looking into the events of Miss Marvel, which brings me to a point of what I did based on information and just doing some research before I even started doing any of these full breakdown reviews. I told you earlier that I thought that Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, had the abilities like my Pugman character, aka stretching her body. Apparently, because of the dramatic effects, I've heard about how body stretching in comic books looks really weird, which if you look at the Fantastic Four movies, it's understandable. It just looks really bizarre. So they decided to change it. Instead of having her stretching abilities, she has more of these able to enhance and do things with her abilities. It's really weird what they're doing, where it comes from the bracelet she put on, Which makes me think, then how are they going to do Mr. Fantastic if they can't do bendy abilities when it comes to Miss Marvel? I don't know, but that's sidetracking off the point of this Easter egg, which is the Department of Damage Control, which you did see in Spider-Man Homecoming when the Vulture had the Department of Damage Control come in and swoop in and take over his job, making him lose his job. And now they're back again, but now they're going after Miss Marvel. And there you guys have it. That is the first episode of Miss Marvel. What do I think? Well, understand, her way she got her abilities in the Avengers video game was actually really cool, and how she got them here was different. My thing is I don't know what the comic book is referencing more, the Avengers version, the video game, or this show. I feel like they changed it for this show because of having to change her abilities. I know she dressed up as Captain Marvel, though, for sure, or was wearing a Captain Marvel shirt or something of that nature. Either way, it's something I may not be as familiar with, but I will definitely be diving into some Miss Marvel comics when I get the chance, because I feel like I need to brush up on some Miss Marvel if I'm going to give you guys, you know, distinguished or informative information, especially since there's probably characters here that I didn't get to reference that might have a huge impact on what's going to happen in later episodes. But that being said, I did enjoy it, but it feels like it very much is targeted for kids. It has a very targeted influence for the younger generation, which I'm okay with. But for me, we'll see. It's all based on the next 5 episodes. But with that being said, I want to thank y'all for watching. Again, I'm Putty with the G-Pot crew. It's been a joy to do this full breakdown and review for you. And hopefully things will get better and informational too. I'll see you guys next Wednesday for the next episode of Miss Marvel.